What's up, everybody? Teacher Willie here today. Today's live stream will be in English. This month of August, I am live streaming every day, and every other day I'm doing English. Every other day I'm doing Portuguese. Last night was Portuguese, so obviously tonight is English. And hints that I have done up to this point, and I will continue adding it as we continue in the month of August. 4 people here, 2 people have given us a thumbs up. Please give us a thumbs up so that YouTube will put this live stream in front of more people who aren't already subscribed to our channel. Apollo's here, of course. Hello, Apollo. Thiago, the other Thiago's here. Welcome, Thiago Fidelis. Good evening to you. So today, Kach is always here. Hi, Kach. Today is, like I said, in English. And we already have 5 people on, that's a good sign. I'm going to get right into today's tip. So today's tip is a great tip for learning, not learning, but writing in English. Why do I say not learning, but writing in English? Not learning how to write, but writing in English. Because this tip, being that today is an English live stream, Vicente is always also here. Hi, Vicente, welcome. So today, we're not going to talk about beginning writing in English, but we're going to talk about, because it's an English live stream, then we're going to talk about tips for someone who is a little bit either intermediate or a little bit more advanced. Vitor's here. Welcome, Vitor. Vicente Jr. Good evening to all of you. This is awesome. Lots of you today. Okay, so what's the tip? So one of the main problems that I've seen when I was a substitute teacher in the public school system in the United States, and that I've seen with my students here many times, especially when I'm doing preparation for the TOEFL test, one of the main problems is one of 2 things that people have when they are writing, especially for the TOEFL test. Either they write too little or they write too much. So you don't, especially for tests like IELTS and the TOEFL, you don't want to write too little, and you don't want to spend too much time. You have a time limit, so you don't want to construct everything and not get all of it written by writing too much. So what can you do to practice your writing in a way that will help you to not write too little and not write too much? It's a great tip, it's a great trick actually that I learned when I was studying linguistics at Boise State University. I took a class that was a fiction writing class. It was very fun, I really liked it. But one of the things that was one of our assignments in this fiction writing class was that we had to start off by writing an essay that was 200 words long. I don't remember exactly, I think it was 200 words, I don't remember, but you can do this with any amount of words. So let's say you have, you're writing an essay that is 200 words long. So you write, make sure that you do the full structure with an introduction paragraph, a body, and a conclusion paragraph. Then what you do, after you get that done with your 200 words, or if you want to start with 500 words, you can start with 500 words. After you get that done, then you cut it in half. So if you start with 200 words, then you go on and you go down to 100 words. So you have to cut out half of the words. What does that do? That forces you to be more concise. It forces you to only leave in the things that really matter. And then once you get that done, you can compare the 2 and see how it is, what were the things that were most important and what were the things that you were able to get rid of. And then after that, you cut it again to 50 words, or you can go 500, 250, and then whatever, 100 and something after that. So then you cut it one more time and you cut out everything that is not essential to the story, or if you're writing an essay, an academic essay, you cut out everything that is not essential to the topic. And this forces you to be even more concise and to be even more direct in the things that you say. So by doing that, then you can compare the 3 essays that you now have, and you can see what it was that you started off with, what it was that you got rid of, which usually the first one is not too difficult to cut it in half. But then when you look at the third copy, then you can see the difference between the second copy and the third copy. What exactly were the things that you thought at first were good to keep, but you actually didn't need them? And then you can apply that in your future writing, whether you write fiction, you do fiction writing, or if you do academic writing, like for the TOEFL or IELTS test or whatever it is. No matter what you write, even if you just write for work, or if you write proposals, if you work in a university, or whatever you do, this technique will help you to be more concise and will help you to get straight to the point, and will keep you from, I like to say, muddying, having a muddy communication or an unclear communication. You cut out all of the fluff, all of the fluff, all of the extras, all the frou-frou. You cut it all out, and you only keep the things that you really need in order for the communication to happen. And then that will help you as you go on, especially if you take an exam, whether it's Enem or whatever you take, because this can also, of course, carry over to Portuguese or whatever language you write in. And then it helps you to be more concise and not just write in circles, because especially if you have a problem with writing in circles, or you end up talking about one thing, you go somewhere else, and then you end up back where you were at the beginning, and that can cause problems, especially in essay writing. But this will help you, because if you notice that you did that, then you're going to cut that out in the part where you cut out as much as possible. So that's the tip for today. The writing tip is to write an essay, cut it in half again, cut out all of the extras, only keep the meat, cut out the fat, and that will help you in your writing experiences. So let me know what you think of that. Also, we have 7 people here. I think only 4 or 5 told us who they are. So if you could, tell us who you are, where you're at, where you're watching us from, and also if you have any questions. I'll go another about 15 seconds or so. If we don't have any questions, then I'll shut her down, because I gotta get ready. That's not great teacher English. That's native English. I gotta get ready. I've got to get ready, or I have to get ready for my next class. So I need to prepare. But if anybody has any questions, let me know, and we will take some of your questions. If not, we'll just go on our merry way, make it a shorter live stream today. Katja, is there an idiom or more than one involving to start a quarrel? Ooh, quarrel, that's a nice word. Melk's internet connection sucks. Sorry about that, Melk. Is there an idiom or more than one involving to start a quarrel? Let's see. I'm such a peaceful guy that, I just can't think of any of them. Nah, Valkyrie would fight with that. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe we can put some in the comments after I end the live stream, but off the top of my head, an idiom for starting a fight, starting a quarrel. We do have, like, if you're in a fight or you're in a quarrel and one person is really, you can say they're taking it to the other person. So that's one, to take it to, and we don't even say what it is, but to take it to someone. Another one is to really give someone the business, but that's the person who is being aggressive, is the aggressive one on it. So you've got that, to give them the business. What else is there? There's an interesting one. If 2 women are fighting or arguing, we call it a cat fight. I think that's kind of sexist, but it exists. So there's a cat fight. There's that. Yeah, so I'll, if I get a chance, I will look some of those up. Because I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I will put those in there for you. All right, good question. Excellent question. You stumped me. Any other questions or anything else you'd like to talk about before we skedaddle? Skedaddle is a strange word said by nerds and dorks everywhere, in case you didn't know. But I'm going to take off, so we'll go another 15 seconds. Anyone else? You really are a peaceful guy. I'm not. I am sometimes. It's like all or nothing with me. Either I'm really peaceful or I'm really not. So I guess, Kachi, you've just caught me at my peaceful times. All right, thanks for being here. Tomorrow is Saturday. Let me see. I'm thinking that there probably won't be a live stream tomorrow because we have our waffle breakfast and monitor training for our project in the churches, and so I'll be cooking waffles in the morning. So I thought I would probably do a vlog of it and then edit it and throw it out there instead of doing a live stream. So I'll probably put together some footage of me cooking, just so that you guys can believe that I actually do sometimes. And so I'll do that, and I'll have somebody take some footage of the monitor training and stuff, and we'll go with that probably. If anything changes, I will notify you guys in the group. Writing is a good way to memorize new vocabulary. Is that a question? Then it should be, is writing a good way to memorize new vocabulary? Excuse me, do you have any tips to write every day, and how many new words are a good number to learn every day? Well, how many words to learn is dependent upon you. Depends on how many words you can learn and retain. So if you find that you can only learn one new word a day and retain it, it's more important to do that than to try and learn 5 new words and forget them all. So I would say start with 1 word per day, and if you memorize the word today, let's say decorate, which we've talked about in the group before. Decorate is not to memorize. Decorate is to put little things on the walls or put things in places. So there's a word for today, decorate. So if you get to tomorrow and you still remember decorate, then try 2 new words. Okay, so do 2 new words, and then if the next day you remember those 2 words, then go to a 3rd word. But if you try, like today, start off with 5 words, and because you tried too many words, you end up forgetting them all, then it doesn't do you any good. Another thing to do, if you are an intermediate, upper intermediate, or an advanced student, check out the Magoosh, it's M-A-G-O-O-S-H, the Magoosh TOEFL app, the Magoosh TOEFL vocabulary app. Their vocabulary app has a lot, I don't know exactly how many, but it has a lot of vocabulary words that are used at TOEFL level, which is, the proficiency. It tests proficiency at a high level. So it has very good words that you can use the app to practice, and it really works well. When I'm doing TOEFL preparation courses, I have my students download that app and use that app. It's an excellent way. But yes, to answer your question, writing is a good way, and a good tip that I just found when I was prepping my TOEFL class just this week was to take and this is actually good for speaking, so it's good if you can speak with someone else, but take an article in Portuguese and translate it. I mean, and that's good for, and obviously you don't want to make it like a children's article, something simple and easy, but if you translate it, even if it's just in writing, that's an excellent way. So find something that you're interested in, like if it was Vitor, he would be interested in weird biology stuff or whatever, but then take an article and translate it, and you can translate it writing. But if you have a speaking partner, then the good thing would be to translate it, to read it off and translate it to your speaking partner as you're reading. And it's excellent for speaking and for reading. Obviously you want someone who has a decent level if you're going to do the speaking, but if you're translating writing, it is an excellent way to gain vocabulary. So if you do those 2 things, if you try to memorize one word, starting 1 word a day, and then try and raise that number as much as possible. Even if you just do 1 word every day, it's still, 30 days, 30 words. That's 30 more words than you would know if you hadn't have done it. So between that and translating from Portuguese to English, you know, utilizing dictionaries and those kinds of things. Those are a couple of things that really will help you in your vocabulary acquisition. Katya asks, is there any difference in meaning between how about you and how about yourself? It's another one of those, a lot of these questions you ask, Katya, are those the technicalities that I don't know technically if there is a lot of difference between how about you and how about yourself. I think one of them is technically correct, but we use them both, so I would have to Google it to find out which one is actually correct, but I would say, in my experience, it's 50-50 on whether, I think yourself, it seems like the reflexive pronouns a lot of the times seem more formal because they're less used, so I would go with, it seems to me a formality thing as far as usage, but I'm sure there's some technicality that says you should only use yourself when da-da-da-da-da, but I'm not sure exactly what it is, so can't help you more than that. But I would say I wouldn't worry too much about it because generally you can use both of them in most situations, but I'm sure there is some kind of technicality if you were to take a test on it. Apollo, I write essays to practice writing. I use this logic to improve my work reports. Yep, good idea. It's an excellent way to improve your work reports. Vicente, you're welcome. What's the difference between tip and hint? Pretty much nothing. They're synonyms. I would say the main difference, if I were to pick and find a difference between tip and hint, is that a hint is more, I would say probably more to try and help you. So for example, if you're taking a test, this happens all the time with my students, if I give my students a test, they wouldn't say, give me a tip. So a tip is like information that is going to help you change. This is off the top of my head, so I haven't actually looked up the difference, but I would say that a tip is like information that's going to help you change something, change a behavior maybe in the future, where what you would say if you're taking a test is, my student would say, give me a hint. So a hint is more information, I think, to help you now, maybe. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but it seems to me that because I'm basing this on the fact that you wouldn't say, if you were taking a test, you wouldn't say, give me a tip. If you said, give me a tip, then the person would probably say, you should answer every question. That would be a tip, where a hint would be, number one is something that we talked about yesterday, which would be more of a hint. So again, that's off the top of my head. I think I said that 3 times. I just want to make sure that you know that that's not an official thing that I have seen before, but it's one of those things that as a native you know naturally whether you say hint or tip, but they are pretty much synonyms. So even if you were to use tip when you should use hint, it would be understood. So I like to say that there's wrong and there's very wrong. It's okay to be wrong, but you don't want to be very wrong. So for example, if I say, we had the other night I talked about the difference between ma'am and man, and if you say ma'am and you're talking to a man, or if you say man and you're talking to a ma'am, a woman, that's very wrong, because not only is it completely misunderstood, but it also can be offensive to some people. So, but if you say, for example, a hint instead of a tip, it's not very wrong because it would be understood, but it would sound like you're a foreigner. So, you're welcome, Thiago, no problem. Okay, I think that's it. No other questions then. Like I said, probably no live stream tomorrow. Sunday, I'll probably have to announce because I have a ton of work. The classes start for real. Most of our classes started yesterday and today, but I have to have all of our workbooks finished that I was supposed to finish during the vacation for Monday. So Sunday, I'm going to be working my butt off. Now, there's a good expression for you, to work your butt off, which would be terrible in Brazil, right? Because apparently you're supposed to have a butt, because my wife always says she doesn't have a butt like it's a bad thing. So I don't understand that part of your culture, but I'm going to work my butt off. So I will probably just try and fit in a live stream on Sunday wherever I can. And then Monday, I have a class from 7:30 to 8:30. So I'll have to see. At the beginning of the semester is very difficult because I'm not used to my schedule yet, so I don't know exactly what I have. But as we get more towards the middle of the semester, I already know exactly when I'll be available. But I will advise in the groups, as I always do. Thanks for being here again. You guys are the best. Until next time, have a great night and day.